Okay, here I am. Bonnie wants to take a shot at learning how to do some basic edits in Final Cut Pro. So she has an interview with her father. So I'm going to go through the process here. I've closed Final Cut Pro and I'm going to demonstrate um, how to load Final Cut Pro and find the project that I've started for and do some basic edits. So here we go. Might be a little bit of chaos, but this is the way it goes. So first of all, I'm going to share, I'm going to just share the whole desktop. That's going to be a little bit interesting. We're going to have this. So we're going to go, first of all, how to find it. I clicked on the launch pad on the desktop, and then here are all the various programs, and you can scroll through the pages by dragging two fingers. But this is what we're going to load is Final Cut Pro right here. And so that's loading Final Cut Pro. Take a few seconds here. There we go. There's the startup. The beautiful little clapboard. And right now it's loading the various open libraries. And I'm in the middle of editing the Nashville video for Sunday, so I'm going to change it. So on the left-hand side, there's the Andrus family and Sam Andrus. So we click on that, and there we go. And I've started this. The project here is Sam Andrus Chat 2020. Then there's Sam. So here we have on the board we have basically the magnetic editing, the timeline here. One of the very first things I do when I load in a clip is I check the audio, and there's a thing called automatically check, and then some adjustments. Generally, often this loudness is all you need to adjust the amount and the uniformity, and that's pretty normal here, and that just makes it sound better overall. So here's Bonnie. And I want to hear the brown. Oh yeah, we also added this audio track here, which we don't really need. I'm just going to take it off for now. So sugar story. So here, Aunt Barbara and you when you were kids. So the first thing I'm going to do here is one of the things Bonnie's going to do is put some titles on here. I'm going to go through the titles, and I like this gradient edge. It's technically called the lower third. And then you drag it down and put it where you want. And here you can say Sam Andrus, and then we'll just say the sugar story. And if I click on the little T, I can change the color of that little background thing. So let's try this one here. Sort of a, what was that one there? Yeah, that one's a little bit better. That's sort of a more military dark blue. You can, there are various different ways of choosing colors by names, or you can adjust the color, pick on the color wheel. I like the Crayola, the crayon selection. That works pretty well. Okay, and so there we have it. And now we've got this. Aunt Barbara and you when you were kids, because I love that story. Yeah. I love that story. And here you can change, if you drag the end of this thing here, you can make it longer or shorter. I'm going to make it, usually defaults to about 4 seconds, and I find that a little short, so I'm going to make that 5. And so, and then it shows up on the screen. Because I love that story. Sometimes you can just drag the whole thing. The other way of repositioning is this little square icon, which is a transform. And here you can just drag the whole thing down. So it's more at the bottom of the screen. and we just call that done. If we look at it, there it goes.
Aunt Barbara and you when you were kids, because I love that story. I love that story. You're in Missouri and Ozarks.
Yeah. So another thing to do here is we had done this before. I'm just going to stretch it out. Right at the beginning, there's some dead air, right?
Okay.
Before
now
there.
We get to talk all we want, just like we always do.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm here today to talk to my dad's.
Yeah. So you can see there's some stuff you may want to edit out. So I'm just going to hear.
Okay. Now we get to talk all we want, just like we always do.
So here, let's say we want to start here. The body's looking a little bit awkward, but there are some key commands that will work here. And this here I'm going to press the command key and the letter B is for blade. And you can see here it's cut that frame, and you select that, press the delete key, and it disappears. And so now we jump into.
So anyway, I'm here today to talk to my dad's old man Sam.
Yeah.
And I want to hear the brown sugar story about Aunt Barbara and you when you were kids, because I love that story. I love that story. You're in Missouri and Ozarks, and you're about what, 10?
Probably less.
So here we have,
a little younger.
we've set it up in Zoom so that whoever's
9.
speaking takes over the screen. It's called speaker view. And this works out most of the time. So when Sam is speaking,
you go to the store and you get a little brown bag, and I think they had it in a wooden barrel or something. They'd put it in these little brown
in the future,
bags.
We may actually pin the video so that it
bags
doesn't
and give it to
change when
you.
there's a noise at Bonnie's
My
end.
sister
It
and
just
I
shows
go in,
Sam, and
Barbara
then
would go in
Bonnie would
there.
be in the background.
We'd take
So
probably like a butcher knife and knock off a chunk of it.
anyway, so that's some basic editing. Basically, would just go and you make cuts to where it is. And here, I'm going to skip to the end here.
Peel them back. Just peel that big white onion back and eat it.
Yeah. So here we've done this before. That gone into the Bonnie's going to start asking about tomatoes, and then we put a title in, and so we'll do the same thing. We'll drop that down, and what I tend to do is once I've got one of these lower thirds that I like, I will simply just copy it. I will select it with the mouse, and then Control or Command C will copy it, and then you can just drop it somewhere, and then Control V to paste it, and there you have it. That's not the right spot, but I'm just demonstrating copy and paste. So if you get it the way you like it and where it's positioned where you like it, copy and paste is good. Anyway, basically that's what Bonnie's going to be doing. Oh, okay. While I'm here, I might as well show the audio. She wanted, one of the first things she wanted to do is put some music on. So there's a little icon here for music, and the pre-canned ones are called it's called sound effects. And so there's a combination of sound effects, but it's also music. So there's this Tennessee Twister Long that we're selecting. We'll just drag that in. Okay, while we're here, whoops. I'll drag it there. What we could have previewed it like here, Swing City Short, and you could just, and whatever it is you want to, so you get an idea. But then you drag it down onto the timeline here, and we can play it. So right now you'll notice that it's actually pretty loud relative to the voice. There are two ways of adjusting it. One is there's a little, put your mouse in the middle of the sound. You can drag the volume down. Also on the right hand side over here, there's a volume control that you can slide. So I'm going to put it down to say -10. -10, there we go. And see how that goes for volume.
So anyway, I'm here today to talk to my dad's old man
Anyway,
Sam.
you may or may not want to put
And
music
I'm
in.
gonna hear
It can be
the
distracting, or
sugar
it could
story
be fun. You have to be
about Aunt
careful not
Barbara and you
to
when
be
you were
distracting.
kids. Because I love that story.
Okay, now I heard what Bonnie said, and it's actually not just the sugar story, it's the brown sugar story. So I'm going to select that thing, and then I'm going to select that text. It shows up at the top here. Go to edit and call it brown sugar. And yeah, we'll go back here and play it.
Aunt Barbara
And
you
there he
when
is.
you were kids.
So anyway, that's some basic editing. It's mostly going through and cutting out the stuff that you don't want, putting titles where you want it. Um, you may rearrange things, but for what Bonnie's doing now, she's likely just to do it. I think the first pass she's going to do one big long with the interviews, just putting in titles. The next step might be to have like the brown sugar story as a separate clip, and the tomato story as a separate clip, and then there, I don't know, Sam probably be told about 5 or 6 stories during this interview. Anyway, I think that's enough for now. I'm going to stop sharing, and right now I'm going to stop recording and call it good for now.